everybody. Welcome back to Streamside Stories with Youth Dynamics. My name is Garrett. I'm the staffing manager at our adventure base in Horseshoe Bend, Idaho. I've been with the ministry for going on 6 years, and I'm excited to share a story with you today about a river trip I was on a number of years ago. We do a lot of trips on the illustrious Owyhee River. Anyone who's been on the Owyhee knows that it's a special place. And so there was one summer I had the pleasure of being on it for the third time that season. And this trip had a very consistent pattern every day. We would wake up and it was blue skies. And then about 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon, as we're paddling down to our next camp, we'd kind of look over our shoulders and we would see some clouds coming. And then they would get closer and they would get closer and they would chase us down, and we would get to camp, set up our rain shelter, and then it would rain, and then the clouds would leave, and it'd be clear skies by the time we went to bed that night. This happened every day for 4 or 5 days in a row. And one day it caught up to us, and it started raining before we got to camp, and it started raining hard, just coming down. And so we get to a camp, and our trip leader just says, "Everybody, grab some tarps." And so, we take these personal sized tarps on trips and we use them to sleep on under the stars. And what we did at that point, instead of sleeping on top of them, is we pulled them over top of us, and we all huddled in underneath these shelters, like 3 or 4 people to a tarp, and we rode out the storm. And it came down hard. And so we rode it out, and then of course we set up our pavilion, like rain shelter. We got some hot drinks going, and we all tried to stay warm together, and we warmed back up. And by the time we went to bed, clear skies again. Woke up the next morning and it was blue skies. And it was a very visceral encounter with a storm. And it was really thought-provoking to me, because often when we come into storms in life, we're seeking to avoid them, and we're seeking shelter from them. But this moment in time, there was no escaping. We had to feel the storm. And a lot of times in life, when we go through storms, we seek to insulate ourselves from those. But we often are disconnected with the reality of what a storm it can do in us, what it can shape in us, how it can grow us. And even more so, sometimes people don't have a shelter to go to from the storm, and we see other people and they're just out in the storm by themselves. How powerful is it when we can go out, leave the comfort of whatever insulation we're in, and go sit next to a person and ride out the storm with them? I can say for myself, being under that tarp by myself was a very different experience than what I ended up having, which was 2 or 3 people underneath there, and we just kind of looked at each other and smiled and be like, "This was crazy!" And that was a really bonding experience, and I still remember it to this day, 5 years later. So that's my story for today from the Owyhee River. Don't worry, it doesn't storm every time like that. We do have warm, sunny days very often out there, so I hope you can come with us sometime. Thanks for joining us today on Streamside Stories. If you've adventured with us before, thanks for being here. If you've not, we want to get to know you a bit more. You can find out more about us by just clicking on one of the links in the comments below, and hope to hear from you soon. Have a great day, everybody.